get right into our mission statement. So, mission here is to create the greatest group of professional traders compiled in the world. We work tirelessly every day to improve our individual selves and push each other to get the most out of one another. Quentin being all over the world is kind of helping us with that too. With each individual's personal accountability, 100% effort, and consistent action towards focusing on our controllables, we will each reach our full potential individually and as a family. I, Stefanos, pledge to be the best version of myself today, to do whatever it takes to be the greatest trader that I can be, and to be the most self-disciplined person that I know. I will do the things I have to do today, regardless of how I feel, one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time. Every minute counts. I will control what I can control and not worry about anything else. Reminders, we do not overtrade. We do not over-risk. You don't need to catch a trade today. We were just talking about patience. 1 to 2 trade ideas per day. 3 if you see a perfect setup. Capital preservation over capital appreciation. Yes, we want to make money, and we will be making money, but focus on keeping the capital that you gained from that previous trade. Risk management is the #1 focus. Keep your trading plan in front of you. Make smart decisions. Trade what you see, not what you think. We are system-oriented, not how much money can I make on this. Think longevity, think efficiency, think long-term. We aren't here just to make as much as we can this week. We're here to learn. We're here to become better traders on a daily basis and over the course of our lives. Have a sense of urgency today with your daily must. Every minute counts. Eliminate excuses and any victim mindset. Full accountability for your actions. All right. So to start off this week, and to kind of go over last week the volume kind of started to die down as we had Good Friday last week, even though we had NFP and the first Friday of the month. But at the end of the day, it's still very low volume for Easter. Not as many investors in the market. Banks are closed. Banks were closed yesterday in Europe as well. So now, today we kind of have a low economic calendar. We get some FOMC members speaking, but tomorrow is where the volume should probably start to kick off between Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So today, again, like I said, some FOMC members speaking. NFIB Small Business Index came out for the U.S. over here, higher than previous, which is good. A little bit lower than actually a little bit lower than previous, but higher than expected. Retail sales came out of Europe as expected and as previous. But like I said, just some FOMC members speaking, and then we got some data coming out of Japan tonight during the Asian session. So maybe we could get some volume on a pair like GJ today. Looking at Wednesday here, Wednesday is, like I said, where we're going to really start to kick off some volume as CPI is coming out for the U.S., right? We're the Fed, the public, everyone's going to start to see where inflation is going to start to be. Obviously, it's kind of kicked up a little bit as of late, but for the month over month and year over year tomorrow, that should add some volume at 8:30, and we may be able to catch some nice moves on gold, US 30, or any of our major pairs that we trade. We have crude oil inventories. That should be interesting with everything going on with Saudi Arabia and them kind of pulling back from relations with the U.S. So we'll see where our crude, and we've been using a lot of reserves as well. So I'll be taking a look at that at 10:30 as that usually comes out. Day 1 of G20 meetings. This is going to be interesting when it comes to the G20 countries. After this alliance between all the Asian countries are starting to come together with their new currency based on tight government restrictions, which obviously I don't know if that's a currency we're going to be interested in. And also the U.S. still holds a lot of debt between a lot of countries in the world. So I'm kind of worried about that when it comes to the U.S. dollar, but as of right now, not so much. We have FOMC meeting minutes tomorrow and the Fed budget balance coming out tomorrow. We have Bailey speaking tomorrow. Employment data coming out of Australia. I don't think any of you guys trade any AUD pairs. There's a couple of you guys in the group, but you guys, I don't think so. Looking at Thursday, we got GDP coming out during London. I think Gary's been doing a great job running the London session, so he's been keeping you guys up to date with what he's looking at, and I was telling him that makes him better. If you guys keep sharing your analysis, that's going to make you guys better as traders. We have core PPI coming out during the New York session, so that's going to be important. If this rises, eventually CPI starts to follow. PCE starts to follow. Any kind of business, when their inflation rises, they're going to start passing the costs on to consumers as well. unemployment claims coming out as every Thursday it comes out. You got Macklem speaking coming out of the Bank of Canada. G20 meetings, day 2 is going to be going on tomorrow. So plenty of data and volume coming out on Thursday as well. And then Friday, we have core retail sales coming out for the US and then the University of Michigan data. Also, Waller's going to be speaking as well. Also, day 5 of the IMF meetings, and it should be, let's see, I guess just 2 days of G20. I thought it's usually 3, but I don't see that. So maybe it's just 2 days of G20 meetings. All right, so that is the economic calendar. Any questions before we get into our charts here? Still in US 30 here, by the way. You guys all clear?
Yes, sir. Steph, for US 30 on MetaTrader, the is DJI USD, huh? Okay.
Yep. It really depends on the broker that you're using, but some use US 30, some use that DJI USD.
All right.
So, but it's the same thing. All right. So, we'll start with GJ over here. Looking at the monthly, I pretty much erased everything over here. We're just going to mark everything back off. Again, the monthly, that 156 area, 157 is still holding that solid support here. Over here, where we ended up creating our high around, let me move you guys, creating our high around like 172, meeting up with a previous high to the left, actually previous low to the left, right over there. And we can also kind of just move that to the bodies and then end up adjusting that. But that's your recent resistance, and it looks like we're coming right back up as the Japanese yen is kind of heading down right now. There's some optimism in the market. I wouldn't say optimism, but calm from any of the bearish movement that we've had on the dollar and Japanese yen. Let me see where we go. Here we go. So there's been some calm from everything kind of going on in the world. I think it's just short-lived until, eventually things start to really kick off again with a lot of the banks. The banks are the main issue right now in the world. Eventually, when the banks start to collapse, which is probably going to happen within the next couple of months, you're going to see all this stuff start to go down. You're going to see people investing in the Japanese yen. I don't know about the dollar. The dollar is getting weaker and weaker by the day, but maybe the Swiss franc as well. A lot of these safe havens, and again, you're going to see gold skyrocket. All right, so but looking at GJ right now, as we see the current monthly candles, previous candles as well have all been bullish and all closed bullish. The 3 previous months over here to start the year in 2023 have all been bullish over here. Current monthly candle already has its bottom wick, and we have now passed the high of the previous candles. We had a very bullish day yesterday on Monday, where GJ really took a nice little rally here. But right now, 166 seems to be a recent rejection area or point that we like to call it on GJ, right? So we've rejected that area multiple times, and it looks like the current monthly candle is rejecting it right now. We've pushed above it, and now we're starting to retrace. And right now, we're sitting right around 165,500. So now looking at the weekly here, they were talking about in the London session. I joined the conversation later on this morning about 166 and that wick fill. They wanted to see that wick fill over here. I think it was Lim, Kyung, and Garrett. Now looking over here, what we have is 2 weeks ago, we had that strong bullish push over here. Strong bullish push from this area, a strong close with the wick to fill, and now this candle kind of closed right above that area as well. I know we closed bearish, but we closed above that area and we created a new high up here. Now the current monthly current weekly candle already has a bottom wick, and it's very bullish as well, again from yesterday. So are we going to be able to fill this wick over here and possibly pass through it to continue up to, I'd say somewhere around like 168, 200, somewhere around this area? We can always adjust that as we go down the time frames, but right now that looks like a previous rejection area to the left. Looking at the daily now we can readjust here. We've had multiple rejections of this area up top here, right? We keep rejecting with that wick right there, that wick right there, where we keep rejecting. This one closed bearish right over here. This one closed a weak bullish candle, and then we ended up pushing down into this area right here, around 163,300. Multiple times where we've held a support here, previous resistance over here, and the resistance to the left as well. So what we ended up doing was creating a high. We've seen this all the time, right? Break through a previous resistance, more so right here. That was our previous resistance to the left. Broke through it, created a high. We pulled back to retest that previous area, hold support, and now we're continuing right back up. And it definitely looks like after yesterday, that price could end up filling that wick and continuing right back up. Now I can understand why it may get a little tricky to break this down as we start to go down the time frames, because as you see a previous resistance right here, we ended up breaking through it right here, but then holding the resistance multiple times. So it gets a little confusing, but whenever it does, just make sure you're marking off the most recent support and the most recent resistance right over here, right? Price is holding that resistance. We can always adjust it, but right now we are holding that resistance as well. Actually, not anymore because we just broke through it, but it does serve as a possible retracement point for a price to then continue right back up and fill that way. All right, so now we just adjust this here, most recent support. This, we can actually just kind of move right here because that's your 4-hour resistance right here to the left. You get that resistance right there. And right now we're kind of tapping into that. And right now price is really kind of ranging right over here. Holding this support. This isn't something I'd want to really be trading in right now. Even though I'm only looking at the 4-hour and we could go down to the lower time frames, these candle bodies tell me that I don't really want to trade in this just yet, right? All we got to do is just look at where we are right now, look at that resistance, 165,800, and then look to the left to see what move we can mirror and where that target point is going to be. And it looks like it'll be right around here, right around 166 or 167, I would say. We'll just mark off 167 as that psychological point. You get that clean candle right over there that price can mirror if you get this close above that area right there, and then right over here, right? If we could close above that area, we're going to fill that wick and continue right back up to 167. Any kind of sells in this area, I don't think I'd want to be taking, but we have rejected this area in the past. Get that hard rejection right there. So can we take advantage of something like that? What I would want to see, actually, Lenny, what would you want to see over here before you take any kind of sells? What do we always talk about? You're muted.
Breaking close.
Spend the time.
Breaking close, yep. But also, it probably might be wise. I mean, we'll see on the lower time frames, but to wait for a retest right here and price to hold this resistance before taking this thing down. That's kind of how Tiffany got caught. If you guys look at the New York session, Tiffany got caught trying to take the counter trend trade on GJ because she missed the move up. She tried to catch that sell when if she just waited for a retest of that support, she wouldn't have gotten caught there. So now you're starting to see this range right here. I don't want to trade in this. I'm good trading off this. We have a very low economic data day right now. And now what we're going to do is readjust that right there. And you got that high right over here to see if we can scalp something in this area. Now, we know this whole area is kind of iffy to trade in on the higher time frames, but as we go down to the lower time frames, then go back up to the higher time frames, and then back down to lower time frames, it gets more clearer for you. So you got about 50 pips in this area with a clean move to the left that you can mirror. So if you could get a strong close above here, right, I could definitely see us taking something like that to mirror that move to the left. That's nice and clean. All right. Now, when it comes to sells, like we just talked about, I wouldn't want to take anything until I see something hold that resistance, because you could get faked out over here where price closes back below, closes below that area, but then closes back above this area and continues right back up from there. GJ is very bullish from here. And if you guys take a look at the yen has been coming down from that 76.50 area over here, previous resistance to the left, right? So we've just been holding that resistance, continuing down. Again, there's less fear in the market right now, right? That doesn't mean there's going to be less fear in the market long term, but just right now, we're getting that pullback into this area. But the question is, are we going to hold this support right here, right? Are we just getting some calmness in the market until price gets into this area? As we know, fundamentally, everything kind of lines up technically with our charts. It's kind of funny how that happens, but we could get some fear pumping into the market from here. And then again, there's more demand in the Japanese yen or any kind of safe haven currency or commodity. And then this shoots up, and then GJ, you get that pullback continuing right back down here and correcting this whole move. But looking at the 30-minute, again, this is something I don't really want to be trading in right now. I'm just waiting for price to break above this resistance. Make it nice and clear for you guys. At that area, a nice red area right here. And then right below, you can make this this whole area right here orange, because there might be a possibility for you to trade in that, but more so I'd want to see a retest before price breaks into this area. Got a fairly clean move to the left, fairly clean moves to the left over here. So if you could get that strong close below here and at least a top wick rejection, you could possibly take this thing down. But just wait for candles to close. And then Lenny was just talking about patience. That's really where you want to have patience, where you're trying to take a counter trend. That's where you need even more patience than a buy in this situation. I can actually adjust this right here. Like I said, if we could get a strong close above that area right there, I could see this thing continuing up. Now you have 56 pips in there. Right below here, it'll be difficult for you guys to trade. Take that counter trend, but you got about 60 pips in this area as well. Any questions on GJ? You guys all clear? Awesome. All right. Nice and easy. Now looking at gold, gold is starting to come down over here. We got that strong close here in the 30-minute, but let's go up to the monthly real quick. As you guys know, monthly, whenever the monthly breaks through 2000, it normally gets kind of a rejection. All right, I'm going to mark off right here. 2000 has all been historical events. COVID, right? What happened here? Russia, Ukraine, right? And then now the banking crisis over here, right? A lot of fear in the market, but right now you're starting to see price tap into 2035 over here, I believe last week or the week before, and now price is starting to reject 2000. So we'll see if the monthly candle ends up closing below that area, because the last monthly candle ended up pushing through 2000 with all that fear in the market last month. And now you're starting to see this candle create that bottom wick, break the high of the previous candle, push up, and now starting to reject this whole area over here to the left. We can mark off 1680 over here. Not that we're anywhere close to that area right now. 1615. We held that higher low somewhere around like 1830. And now price is just pushing from that area over here through 2000. But we'll see if we end up getting any kind of rejection with optimism in the market. Looking at the weekly right now, the weekly, again, like that 1990, 1980 area right here, we ended up holding a resistance multiple times here and rejecting. And that previous resistance over here, we ended up rejecting, but we get that higher low formed right around like 1940, excuse me. So 1940, we ended up pulling back to, because this candle closed with no top wick. No top wick on this candle. We ended up closing bearish on that candle, pushing all the way into this area, but then closing right here, still bearish and rejecting 2000. Then we get another bearish candle close, and then a higher low form with this candle, and a very strong bullish candle close right there with a wick to fill. Now, based on the next candle right here, and just on the weekly alone, Quinn, what could you see happening over here with the current weekly?
We don't have a top wick yet, so flipping up.
100%. We're starting to get towards the second half of the week, right? So the first half of the week could be creating that bottom wick, especially with a higher low formed and a higher high with a strong body close like that. This thing should be flipping bullish if we get some more fear in the market and filling that wick. Maybe not on that candle. Maybe we even just close like that. And the next one creates a bottom wick, flips bullish, passes the high. And then what setup do we get from there? Impulse volume push, right? Easy. This is how you could trade the higher time frames. It's the same exact thing. Like Young is talking about trying to trade during work and trying to figure out his schedule and stuff like that. If your work is too consuming of your time, this is where you could jump up to these higher time frames. You're going to be taking less trades, but you can trade on the higher time frames and getting stronger confirmations. Looking at the daily right now, it looks like we are holding some kind of a support after creating a new high, right? Previous resistance over here. We've rejected that area multiple times, but then we ended up getting a strong close above. We created a new high up here. And then we pull back to 1990, hold that support. Can we end up retesting that high up there? Right? Clean move to the left. Could be mirroring. All this price action right in here is exactly what you guys want to be waiting for and trading inside of. Right? So from 2000 up to 2050 up here might be a very nice area for you guys to catch a trade on the lower or higher time frames. But right now, as we can see, we're starting to retrace from that area right now on the lower time frames. Yeah, so I'm just going to readjust this right here. That's our current support that we came down to retest. To bring that back up. And right now, we're looking at this previous resistance over here. We currently just ended up closing below, right, with that candle and this candle right here, pulling back to this area, and then we got this doji candle close right there, rejecting the support, held it again with that candle, another one, and another strong bullish candle close, kind of above that area, not quite, barely a top wick. So I don't know if you want to take the breakout from here, which this would have obviously given you the 1-to-1 here on the 4-hour. But right now, best thing to do is to see what happens in this area. Everything depends on this area right here. If we can hold that as a support, this thing can continue to drive up, especially if you start to see the dollar continuing down. For the most part, they don't always have confluence, but for the most part, they do. So if we look at the dollar right now, the dollar over here obviously is in a bearish trend, losing value by the day. And we are holding this resistance right over here. If this daily candle can continue to drive down to retest that support right there, look at the 4-hour. We just got strong confirmation right here that we just closed below that previous resistance right there. This candle doesn't have a bottom wick yet. It could be tapping into that area and then driving right back down, or we could be holding that support. So everything depends on this level of where the dollar is going to end up going. But again, we get low economic data today, so maybe not much is going to happen. But if that thing does continue to drive down, you're going to see this support hold and price continue right back up to potentially right into here. And then obviously you can hold the runner up to 2032. Okay, so now it gets a little difficult to break down here. I would say you can mark that off right in there, where on the 1-hour at least, you ended up getting that strong close above this previous support and resistance, and now price is starting to close right back below that area. I don't know if I'd be taking any sells into this area just yet. I think so far safe sells are going to be below here, where you could take price right back down, and then price ends up faking 2,000 altogether. But right now it's struggling to stay above 2,000. I'm just going to mark this off as a very thick line over here. Maybe not thick. What's up, Lewis?
Morning, bro.
Morning, brother. How are you?
Good, man. How was your vacation?
That was great. It was a good time. I missed you, man. I don't know if you got my message.
Yeah. For sure, I did. Next time.
Yeah, next time I'm down there for sure. I just had, you got to give her all your attention. And
For sure,
I
bro.
can't be, meeting up with all these people. I had like 5 people reach out to me and be like, "Yeah, let's do something." All right. So right now, are we holding support on 2000 over here? It looks like we're trying to retest it. I know it gets a little confusing in here, but right now it looks like we're faking this whole area out, as that was our most recent resistance. We closed above. Now we're starting to come back below. Now we can end up rejecting 2000 over here completely, bouncing off that area and closing back above here. And then this thing can continue back up, which I could definitely see happening. But at the same time, if this candle closes within the next 10 minutes below this area, that is now a fake out. And the question is, are you going to be able to capitalize on that back to 1988? See the 30-minute. Yeah, the 30-minute ended up closing like a strong bearish candle close. Doesn't mean we're going to take any kind of sells yet. I want to go back up to the higher time frames again to see whether you could take anything back down. But right now, that 30-minute candle did close strong, but now we're starting to bounce off 2000. My question is, can we end up capitalizing on some sells right here, being that we got that fake out to continue right back down? I just don't want to get faked out there. Look at the daily again. Again, the daily is very bullish, right? We're holding a nice bullish support right over here, but we are rejecting this previous area. And this whole thing could end up being a fake out, right? This was our recent resistance. We closed above, and then we closed right back below that area, not only below the wicks, but below the candle bodies over here as well. So we could just be creating that top wick over here, and this thing could end up flipping. I don't think that's going to happen. There's not enough volume in the market right now, but that could happen. Looking at the 4-hour, now it gives us a little better idea of what's going on. I think price is just kind of coming back down into 2000 over here, right? Previous resistance could just be retesting that whole area right here, right? Holding support, and then maybe tomorrow we end up continuing right back up. Let's see the 1-hour. Yeah, it could just be giving us like a deeper pullback into that area as well. That's why I don't want you guys to get too anxious about taking sells. If we close about below here, below like 2000, below 2000 or 1998, then that might be a different story, right? Because then we might be able to capitalize on this right here. Got about 100 pips going down to that area. But for now, I would just mark that off as like an orange zone, because you're trading against the daily and pretty much the 4-hour. But above here, I think if we can get any kind of close above that area, above 2002, more specifically, maybe even 2005, above that resistance right there, then this might be good. But I could see if this thing ends up rejecting this area pretty hard and closing above that area, we're going to end up holding support and continuing right back up. And then that's the trade you want to take. Just continued bulls on gold. 178 pips in there. What's 180? You may want to take some profit right here. Make this pretty thin. Right? Got a fairly clean move coming up into that area, but I do think if we hold the support, price is going to continue up into 2020. All right. Any questions on gold? Just be careful trading around 2000, because it was rangy a few weeks ago at the end of March over here. We made that push, a lot of fear in the market, and then eventually we're now coming right back down into this area. But if that daily closes the way it does, like right over here, if it just doesn't move that much here on gold for the rest of the day with low economic data, I could see the next one creating a bottom wick, filling that wick, and continuing right back up to retest that high. Most likely, that's what's going to happen based on this price action. Like I said, we could just be coming into here to retest and continue right back up. All right. So you get your main bias and your secondary bias. All right. Moving on to US 30 now. Again, we're still in this. I'm just trailing my stop loss over here. It looks like we're starting to reject that resistance over here. I don't know how much longer we have. I didn't do a breakdown on US 30 as of yet, but let's take a look at the monthly here. Like I said, I think this is just kind of a correction before price ends up holding any kind of resistance in here to continue back down. But we'll mark off our previous COVID highs and the lows that we got this year, or the end of last year. We have our all-time highs around 37,000. We have our lower high that was formed right over here in 2022, the beginning of 2022, before we got that tank. And then prices now retracing back into the same area, holding that resistance and continuing down. But right now, it's starting to seem like 32,500 is a strong support. You ended up getting barely a bottom wick formed on that candle. Remember this candle right over here last week, or a couple weeks ago? We were talking about the monthly candle for March and how this candle, since this candle closed with no bottom wick, even though this one created a top wick and passed the low of the previous candle, it could go anywhere it wanted to and then flip bullish and close above this level, just because that candle doesn't have any range to continue right back down. Fundamentally, I believe that it could continue down, and eventually I think it will. But I was just saying, technically, based on that candle close, and you guys can take note of that the next candle could do anything. It could push as far down as it wants and then flip bullish above that area. We see that all the time on the 30-minute. Now, again, this candle ended up getting a huge liquidity grab right into 31,500 and then closed a strong body right here. Right, so that tells me, with a wick to fill, that tells me there is maybe some volume where price could push up into 34,000 right over here, 34,000, and then continue right back down. We can end up pushing into 35,000, that previous resistance, and then continuing right back down, right? But there's going to be a lot of fear of the market if that ends up happening, right? This could just be that pullback. You know, the Dow pumping money into the market, and you know, again, a lot of sellers taking profit down here, right? Where we now pull back, but that doesn't mean we're very bullish on the stock market. It just means that we're getting a pullback, and then eventually, fundamentally, this thing should continue down. Now, looking at the weekly here, we had that resistance right up top, 35,130. You have this current resistance that price is holding. I'm also going to draw a trend. Right over here that we've been holding ever since the all-time highs up top here. Just been creating lower highs, right? And for the most part, lower lows, right? We have a new low down here, but we kind of faked it out right over here. That was that previous support again that we held. Then we get that strong close below with bad data, and then we close right back above. So now we're sitting in this range again. So it gets a little bit more difficult to trade. And the previous candles, even though we faked out, barely have top wicks. This candle closed strong, but barely a top wick. This candle closed a lot weaker, a lot smaller. All right, now this candle has a bottom wick, and it is bullish, right? So can we continue back up? Like I said, I could see us coming up into this area, holding that lower high, and then continuing right back down. We could end up retesting that area, fake the trend line out, and then continue down, because again, that trend line isn't that important. It's more so these levels that banks want to bring price to, right? We just use the trend lines to help. Or price get pushed up into 35,200 and then continue right back down. But this is that previous low that we created right here, that if we get that close below here, I could see price continuing right back down for sure. If we get that close below this 32,700 area, this thing's coming down to 31,600. Now it looks like we're ranging a little bit here. Right, we're kind of holding this area. It looks like we came into this previous support over here, which looks pretty significant, right? And now we're holding a resistance with that candle, right? We kind of closed below this area as well. But right now we're sitting in this range, trying to figure out where we want to go. But what I do like is the fact that we are holding this support. This candle came down, grabbed liquidity, ended up closing bullish right here. Just didn't close above that area yet, which tells me we're obviously ranging. If that candle closed above that resistance, where it passed the low and the high of the previous and closed above, I could see this thing continuing back up. But since it didn't do that, this candle already has a top wick and now it's flipping bearish. I could see this thing holding that resistance. So now that I'm in this buy over here, I could see myself taking some profit at this area, but I secured pretty much everything I could. So I'm just gonna leave. I'm gonna leave the small runner and leave this thing continuing right back up. Right, so it's not that big of a deal to me. Okay, so that's that previous resistance. Let's see what the 4-hour looks like. Now my stop loss is below this support right here. Like I said, if I had more running, I'd probably be taking some profit up at this resistance. But right now, I'm just gonna leave it run because we are still creating higher lows here. Well, you got that right there too. Now this might be, where we talk about, trading within a range and how there could be some opportunity. This is the last time price tapped into 33,640, right? We get a nice bounce from that area. You're getting something very similar going on right here, right? So can you potentially grab a move coming down this way? You got that previous support resistance over there to the left. I don't know. I kind of want to put this right here. I could see, because this is your most recent support over here, you got a clean move coming down into 33,340, right? So if we can hold this area, because that's a strong close below, right? Strong close below. If we can hold this as a resistance, right? This thing's going to continue right back down. And not only if you're benefiting from waiting for that, but you're also benefiting because you can now have a tighter stop loss instead of putting something up here and just hoping that price holds this resistance to continue down. Now you can get a better risk to reward if you have that resistance held there. Plus, you're not going to get faked out, right? So that's one of the multiple benefits of waiting for a retest if you're going to counter trend trade. Clean move to the left. Just wait for the resistance to hold, and then price continues down. If price holds this resistance right here, and you get that strong bearish candle close, this goes for every pair too. If we get that, I can close out my full trade. I think that's what would cause me to close out the full thing. Because again, I'm ultimately bearish on the stock market. There's a nice close there on the 1 hour. 30-minute clean close below that area as well, right? We could still be creating a higher low here before price continues back up. But if we hold this resistance, you could take this thing down. Let's see. You could very well grab this move right here, coming into there, and then hold the runner continuing down. And then eventually, just like I held the runner going up, you could very well end up holding this thing down with more fear pumping into the market towards the end of the week. Tomorrow we get CPI. Friday we get PPI. We get retail sales. So there's a lot of data coming out that can cause us to have some panic in the market and this thing continue down. All right. So back to the daily again. Keep rejecting this area. The strong supply zone that price has rejected so far in the past, but we also have that strong support to the left as well. But just keep an eye on this previous candle over here. That could cause you not to take any kind of sells there. And this could just be like a pullback before price continues right back up. Fundamentally, that doesn't make too much sense, but technically it could happen. Never say never. So that is US 30. Let's go back to GJ. Take a look at what we got going on here. GJ is still ranging here. Like I said, low economic day. This is something you want to kind of stay out of. Clean move to the left over here for bias. This is the main bias. And then you could eventually, like I said, with US 30, get the same thing coming right back down here on GJ. And coming right back down here as well. Your next support. Actually, I marked that right there. Just calling. Tiffany coming in. So yeah, that's GJ. Gold over here, kind of holding that support, like I said, at 2,000. So you want to be careful of taking any kind of sells over here on GJ. Sounds good, Carlos. You want to take any or on gold. Be careful taking any kind of sells over here. It could just be pulling back into this area, like we went over that 2,000 area. It's more like a zone than just a price. Anything around 2,000 is a strong area that price could end up bouncing, just like we got right here, coming down that way, right over here, right? Now we could just be faking this whole previous resistance and support out, right? And closing back above this area. How many times have you guys seen something like this? Where this candle completely corrects that candle right there, closes like that. Next one creates a bottom wick, has the high of that candle, and then see you later. Not much of an artist, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Back up to the higher time frames. Keep going over them, right? Like I said, this daily candle could close just like that. The next one, that's strong, right? With a wick to fill. Next one, bottom wick, flips bullish, continues right back up. And again, we're getting a lot of that data tomorrow. So that could cause something like that on gold. And that's what we'll be prepared for. Okay, so you're starting to see the rejection of 2,000 so far in this 4-hour candle. Previous 4-hour candle, strong close, right? With a wick to fill. This one so far is respecting the low of the previous candle here, right? Just tapping into 2,000, could end up holding the support and driving up. 1 hour. 1 hour. Now, the previous 1 hour candle was a strong bearish close, right? So I don't want to trade anything in here. I want to stay out of this. You got plenty of room for price to continue up. Now, like I said, if price ends up closing somewhere near this area with like a strong bullish engulfing candle, that previous candle right here that canceled out, the next one could create that bottom wick and continue right back up that way. But that's the only way I would take anything below this area, is if that candle completely engulfs that candle. But so far, no bottom wick. Could end up tapping into this area, flipping bearish. No safe sells until price breaks below this area. US 30, wait for that resistance to hold. All right, so in-depth analysis of 3 different pairs. Does anyone have any questions on that? Anything that they marked off differently that they just want to go over? That they think maybe there's a different level somewhere? Did anyone break down the chart before I did that and their breakdown was a little bit different? Nothing? Morning, Tiff.
Hey, good morning, Steph. How's it going?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
I saw you took that trade this morning. Did you get my reply in New York?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. If you go over
What
to
was your
New York,
response?
I sent this over to you. So you took this sell on the counter trend, right? It's a great learning opportunity.
Yes, I did.
So I like I mentioned, if you read what I was saying over there, I can see what you're thinking here, right? Like it does look a little overextended, this move, and I could see price pulling back over here, right?
Mhm.
But the only way that I would be taking this sell is if price broke below this area, and I don't even know if I would take this, but if price closed below this area, actually make this bigger. Can I zoom in? This is obviously that support right there.
Mm-hmm.
The only way I would take it is if I got to close below that area and at least a top wick rejection right here before price continued right back down.
Understood.
But
Okay.
even that, I don't know if I would take that because obviously GJ is very bullish here. And what I would be doing is being like, damn, like the move of the morning right here was right here. And
Sure.
I'd be asking myself, how could I have gotten this entire move right here? And right now, what you're seeing was that strong high being created. We pull back into this area. You start to see these bullish candles closing right there. How do I grab that whole thing? And obviously, you look back on it, you're like, shit, like I missed that. You're pissed at yourself. But don't be too pissed because now you could journal this and be like, how can I catch that? Or not only that, if this is big enough within here for you to trade within, right? How can I look at that high being created, get this pullback, start to see this support being held right here? How can I grab this move up? Would you say that's enough pips right there? That's got about 15 to 20 pips in there. So maybe that's a little small. I would definitely lower my risk if I'm going to take that, but it does look like price could end up retesting the high, which it looks like it did. But at that point, I'd be like, you know what? This was the move of the morning. This would have just been my runner, where I would have been securing on the way up. Now price is holding the higher low. Great. I can now hold my trade to continue right back up. This is where the market tricks a lot of people and traps a lot of people trying to take that sell. They're like, damn, like we're going to correct. I need to be part of that. You don't need to be part of that.
True. True. I do a lot of counter trend trading. I have to get myself out of that and just stick to the main trend.
That's I'm glad you said that because there's a couple of people I've really helped with that, and one that I'm helping right now with it is Serge. Serge does a lot of counter trend trading on the 1 minute, and this is something he's trying to get out of, and he's been kind of getting out of it over the last couple of weeks. But he realizes how bad it is to do that. Like you could have a couple winning trades doing that, right? But probability over the long run, right? This is what I always tell you guys to think about. Think longevity, think efficiency, think long term. Is that going to work out over the long period of my career? No, right? It's more so like a money grab where I just want to be right. It's more of an ego thing where I just want to be right on the market and call that top. That's one of the main reasons why people lose. They overtrade, they over risk, and they counter trend trade. They try to call tops. Now, that doesn't mean you can't call tops or bottoms. There's just a way to do it. And the way to do it is waiting for the most recent support to be broken and retested, and then maybe you could grab this thing down. I've caught many of these types of trades, but you'll almost never see me get caught in a counter trend trade up here trying to sell this, and then get stopped out. I'm not gonna lie, it's happened a few times, but barely ever anymore. It's always just waiting for with a move like this, I'm just waiting for the higher low to be formed, and then I could grab this thing back up. Make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Of course. So one of those things is like, I have these post-it notes here. I don't really have to look at them anymore because it's so ingrained in my mind, but you can ask yourself on a post-it note, emotional or logical? And you can also ask yourself, is this part of my plan? Like, is this, should I be doing this? Am I thinking too much about money right now or trying to be right, having the ego going, or am I trading part of my plan? So US 30 is starting to break above that area. If you tried taking sells so far with a tight stop loss over here, you'd be probably thinking about managing risk. This is a perfect example of why you would want to just wait for this level to hold a resistance, because then you can have a tight stop loss like this and take this thing down. These are the counter trend trades we talk about possibly grabbing, because you have history here. You're within a big enough range to trade in. You have a clean move to the left. All you got to do is just wait for this area to be broken and hold that resistance with at least a top wick rejection to take this thing down. Now, sometimes price ends up moving and continuing down this way without giving you an entry. That happens a lot. And you got to be fine with missing those. There's not always going to be an entry for you to enter based on your rules. So that's US 30. GJ, like I said, I would probably stay out. I know it's 8:15. We're starting to get some volume. But if we can get a strong close, not just like a little close like this, you know, right there where we think price is going to continue up, because you can easily get rejected anywhere below 165,800. I'm looking for a strong close above this area. Like, it's clear to you that price will continue up. Man, my drawing today is off. It's clear to you that price will continue up. And you got 56 pips in there. Once you get that bottom wick formed, flip bullish and continue that up. One thing we were talking about this morning, Lenny, are you here?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that really helps other people in the group is not only when I say something, but when I tell you guys how to do something, you guys start implementing and seeing how it works. And then you guys explain it to your peers, like everyone else in here. So if you could just, like we were talking about how much patience has benefited you in the past couple of weeks, you're now passing that first phase of the challenge. But like how has patience really been implemented into your trading, and how is that benefiting you?
Just waiting for the candles to close, and then waiting for after that, the 15 minutes, after the 30 minutes, looking at the 1 hour, the 4 hours, how's that playing out. Also, what helps me is for counter trending is the EMAs, how it rejects. So I look. You mean that's one of the things that I learned from you. I asked you about the EMAs, how do you use it? I went to the baby pips and I read about it and stuff. And then I'm using the EMAs on my chart too. So on doing counter trending, I look for the EMAs, how distance it is, and then if it's a big distance, I take it. If not, I won't take it at all because I know it's going to reject in that area.
Great work, man. I could hear it in your voice too. Yeah, those EMAs, I mean, they're a great tool, right? Not that your whole system is based on it, because people do that. People have systems based on their EMAs, but when it comes to just having them in the background of your chart and knowing that they can hold a nice little support for you, right? You understand where the trend actually is. If you have these on your chart here, you realize that, like, okay, I could see myself taking a counter trend trade, but wait a minute, the 50 EMA is bullish, pointing straight up. The 200 EMA on my time frame is, on its way up, right? It's not pointing down, it's pointing up. That just gives you a good sense of where price could be going, and maybe holding you out of any kind of counter trend trade that might not be smart to take. It's a good job, man, with the patience. I'm glad you said that, because that will benefit a couple other people. The more other people hear that, the more it's going to start to stick with them too.
Also, you're learning the chart and waiting, knowing where what date, what time the volume's coming in and stuff like that. Volume makes a big difference. You can't trade without the volume.
Yeah, 100%. You got to think of yourself as a volume trader, right? We're looking to get in the market, not like just a quick trade on the 1 minute, not anything like that, but you're looking for, a nice 30-minute candle. One thing that, like, Raquel always used to say to me was, just wait for, like, your goal in the market during a session is to catch a 30-minute candle or to catch a 1 hour candle. That changed a lot for me, right? So if you're just waiting for the 30-minute candle of the session, like right over here yesterday, on Monday over here on GJ, this is the trade that Gary took. Beautiful trade, right? If you wait for, like, this was the 30-minute candle, which happened at 9:30. That's the stock exchange open. So the main move over here for the day came for New York at least, came during the stock exchange open. Not so much during the New York open. Obviously, you got that support holding during New York, but you were able to grab this 9:30 candle. You're able to grab the 10 o'clock candle. Typically 9:30, 10 o'clock, 8:30, those candles give you big candles like that. That's where all the volume is. One thing Ted always used to say, I know his reputation isn't too high right now, but what he used to say was he would look at these big candles and ask himself why. Why, like, how are those things moving? What time are they moving at? What's causing them to move like that? And again, you're just trying to grab one of these candles, maybe two, either on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or any kind of high volume event on Fridays. Right? That's one form of back testing. Great job, man. The rest of you guys get a lot out of that. Like Tiffany, does that make sense to you? How important just patience is, and maybe sometimes sitting on your hands and waiting for something to play out. Tiff? Yeah, I hope she heard that.
Yeah, I heard it, Steph. Just sitting on your hands and just waiting for a play to play out.
Right?
So I try to do that for the most part. I don't know, the past day or so, I've been taking small little L's.
Okay. Well, let's
Either
take-
wait longer or just be more selective with the trades I decide to take.
I'm not gonna lie, like I've seen some improvement. Like maybe you see maybe little improvement, but that little improvement stacked up will get bigger and bigger, and you're gonna get more and more confident. So some of these small L's that you're taking, maybe a month or two ago, were they big L's or probably big L's?
Oh yeah.
Right? So like I want you to a lot of us, like, we're very hard on ourselves, especially as entrepreneurs or traders. You got to be hard on yourself. You got to be tough on yourself with the mistakes that you're making, but you also got to make sure that you're paying attention to the positives. And right now you have a lot of positives going on. Those losses are getting smaller. You're taking less losses, right? You're seeing the chart clearer. You're marking off the chart a lot clearer. Like there's not a bunch of things on your chart anymore. They're very clear and concise. Could always see improvement, but at the same time, like, there's some positives going on that you just need to start stacking or keep stacking.
Thanks, Steph.
Of course, keep it up. I hope what it's not just coming from me. You're hearing it from other people. Sammy is a big advocate for how important patience is. He always talks about how that changed everything for him. And also, like, the different ebbs and flows that he's gone on through his career as well, where he would start to do really well, right? Because he's journaling, he's back testing, he's being patient and all that stuff. And then he would ignore that stuff and he kind of get a little cocky or too confident, overconfident, which could kill you as well. And he stops doing that stuff. He's not patient as much, and he goes through a big losing streak. And then he starts to implement that stuff again, and he's right back onto his right back on the train of improvement. So as long as you keep doing that stuff and staying positive and keep reminding yourself, that's why trading is so hard, because people fail to remind themselves these things, and they fail to do these professional actions like journaling, backtesting, being patient, sitting on your hands, just waiting for the move of the morning, all that stuff. So just stay consistent with that. Keep reminding yourself, keep the post-it notes, keep jotting down things like during your trading AAR. That's why that's so important. Writing down your trading AAR and going over what psychology things that you were going through and what you were looking at, things you need to improve on, all that stuff. If you're not doing that, you're not going to be improving. Or you're not improving as much as you could be, because like you're thinking of something in your head that you need to do better next time, and then eventually next time you forget about that because you didn't write it down, you didn't read it over and over again. All right. So again, looks like the 1 hour here on gold still kind of rejecting this area here, right? This candle doesn't have a bottom wick either, so this thing can easily flip after a strong bearish candle like that. But again, stay out of this whole area right here. I could see maybe taking a sell in here, but it's got to be a strong close below that area. Remember, you don't have as much volume in the market today, and the daily candle is bullish. So you'd be selling against the daily candle, which typically isn't the smartest idea. US 30. US 30 is still sitting above that area. So we're so far failing to hold that resistance. Will the 30-minute end up retracing and closing below? But in this case, even if it does, it'll close a fairly strong bullish candle on the 30-minute, even though it closes below that area. And I would rather see the next candle wait for that thing to form a top wick and close a strong bearish candle before continuing this thing down. And then GJ is just ranging. All right, any questions, guys? Anyone want to go over anything from last week that maybe they had an error with? Lim did a great job sending his trades into the group Trello. I set up a new week for you guys to add trades in there, and I was telling him look out for the mentions because I'm going to be looking over those and going through what he could be doing better. And that's how you guys improve as well. There's so many different aspects and ways that you guys could be getting better in here that honestly I don't think a lot of you guys take advantage of. Gold starting to reject that area.
I thought Lynn was a girl, no?
That's something that maybe he wants to go over with you. Lim's not a girl.
Oh.
Well, there's a little story behind that, but I don't think I'm at liberty to discuss it.
No, my bad. I just thought you got confused there for a second. I'm like, what?
No, Lim's a boy.
Okay.
Yep. Yes, sir. Yeah, Lim is he's not gonna be on the stream until Thursday this week, and then he'll be on the stream all next week as well because he's got finals this week. And then Serge is what's up?
No, I didn't say anything. I was just
okay. Yeah, Serge is in Turkey with his wife. I think he's got a little same thing I was doing, kind of like an anniversary trip. But yeah, Lewis, I was bummed. I wanted to get lunch or something. I know you were like an hour away down in Miami. You're about an hour away from Miami. I can't hear you.
You were staying where in Boca Raton?
Yeah, I was in Boca.
Yeah, it's like an hour away. Well, I live in Hollywood. I live like 10 minutes from like the Hollywood Fort Lauderdale Airport.
Oh, okay. So that's around 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
Like I said, next time we'll grab some dinner, go out maybe.
How was Epcot?
It was great. Epcot was a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta bring your girl over there.
You do the drink around the world thing you told me about?
Yeah. Of course. It's great. I was telling Quentin how fun France is. France is cool because it like here, I'll bring it up for you. France is cool because it like meets up with here we go. See if I can here's the World Showcase. So Kingdom. Okay, so here's this is Mexico. So we always like kind of like come in, that's the Epcot ball, and we'll typically go this way around the world. But like once you start to get like America is about halfway, but once you start to get over here to France, let me see if I can. Here we go. Quentin, are you here?
Yeah.
Looks a little dead. This looks more like COVID or something. Yeah, everything's kind of closed. This might be in the morning. Yeah, this picture was probably taken in the morning, but like if you start in Mexico and get your way over to France, which is like 3/4 of the way around the world, everyone's pretty much like feeling the alcohol around this point, and everyone's just like feeling good. The sun's starting to go down a little bit. This place gets packed, and like this little pavilion has a lot of really good food, probably some of the best food in Epcot. But like in here, you got little shops like cologne and perfume shops. This restaurant, we haven't eaten here before, but it's supposedly really good. But they added a whole thing behind this as well. You can see like the Eiffel Tower. Yeah, it's like a mini Eiffel Tower. But once you get around here, it's awesome because everyone's feeling really good at this time. They got little people drawing stuff.
Oh yeah, that. Oh yeah.
Is this kid friendly or?
Well, oh yeah, definitely. This is a Disney park. But the thing is, like me, when I used to go as a kid, Epcot was my least favorite, because it was more so of an adult park, and it's not like Magic Kingdom where it's got all these rides. It's got great rides, don't get me wrong, but you know, as a kid, you don't really appreciate them as much. But as you become an adult, like you and your wife, if you took your daughter here, this would be like probably you and your wife's favorite park. She would enjoy it too, but this is where you guys can drink around the world. You could go to Mexico, which is awesome. If I go back,
This is exactly like Central Paris along the Seine. You have all those boxes, like the green boxes along the river.
oh really?
Is-
What are those?
Yeah, it's books in there. It's like it's small bookstores.
Oh wow, yeah, they got like little paintings in here.
Yeah, and a lot of drawers.
Let's see if I can. Um, let's see. So you could go to Morocco. Oh, is this? Yeah, this is Morocco. It's kind of cool. If you go in here, I actually have a video of me as a kid, like walking around this thing, like on the waterfall. But like if you go in here, look at this. You like feel like you're in Morocco. Just go in, they got restaurants in here. You just like walk around, they got these little like shops. Go out. And then you just travel the world. This is probably your second favorite, Quinn. This is Japan.
Mm.
Pretty cool. You could get like sushi. This is a hibachi restaurant in here. You get some sake in here. Some Japanese beer. This is like shops inside of here. But it's so cool. You just feel like you're traveling the whole world. America is I think the next one. Yeah, they got like this little like amphitheater where they always have concerts. But this is America. It's like continental America. Right here. American Adventure. That's like halfway through. It's the concert hall. This is Italy. So this is like that Quinn, I was telling you, the cologne and perfume shop right in here. You could get some wine and beer in here. There's a restaurant over here as well. Germany is pretty cool. We don't have Sydney in here today. Germany's cool. Germany's one of my favorites. You go in there, a lot of people, you know, congregate over here, and you're pretty a lot of people pretty hammered over here. Lewis, does this seem like a spot you'd want to bring your girl?
Yeah, bro, it seems pretty fun, dude. I don't know why.
It's It's like a amusement park for adults.
Hmm.
Let's see. This is it's like the African kind of a thing over here, but Africa kind of has their own park with Animal Kingdom. So they don't do too much over there. This is China. China's pretty crazy. Yeah. You go in there, a bunch of shops, restaurants. This is Norway. I'm almost done.
Probably took you a whole day to look through all this.
Oh yeah, I think we went around it twice the other day. Norway's pretty cool. This is all under construction. So this is all done at this point. Got a little Viking museum right here.
Oh, what time did you guys get there?
We got there around like 9 a.m.
And you left or what? Oh, what time?
We left around 9 p.m.
God, jeez.
Yeah. This is Mexico. This is like one of my favorite spots. I would say Mexico, France, Germany, and the UK are all like some of the best. But Mexico, like you start out in Mexico and you go into this little hut. Or is it? Oh damn. This is old. This is yeah, this is so right in here there's a huge like hut that you could get like margaritas, alcohol. This is a restaurant in here, one of the best restaurants I've ever had Mexican food in. You could get like a tequila flight in there, a bunch of tequila shots. This is like a outside pavilion, you could get food. But this is this whole thing is not updated. I'll just show you UK real quick.
Yeah, it says February 2016.
Is that what it, oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's they've done a lot of updating since then. Let me see the UK.
Exactly. 2 more months, my sentence is over.
The UK is fun because that's another spot that's like pretty much at the end if you start in Mexico. And it's let's see. This is where everyone kind of congregates when everyone's like pretty much hammered at this point. You go to the Rose and Crown, like this is a pub. And then you got all these like UK little shops. You could get like shirts, cologne, perfume. You could buy swords and stuff in there. You could walk all through there. Feel like you're in the UK. Well, they got a yeah, this is for you.
I mean, the only thing that misses is artificial gray sky with artificial rain.
Yeah, right.
That would look more like the UK.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think we got any UK people in here right now. They might be watching on YouTube. But we always tease everyone in the from the UK about their rain. Look, this is Canada, Lenny.
Mm-hmm.
You got like all this stuff. It's pretty cool. You could walk up into there and there's like waterfall and stuff. But yeah, this is the big lake. At night they do like this whole fireworks show.
Otherwise,
Oh yeah.
I'll be paying your wife and children a visit. Wait,
What was that, Lenny?
Oh yeah, nice.
I didn't know if you were talking.
Yes, and it's nice.
Yeah, it's a good time. Highly recommend if you guys either come to the States like you, Lenny, and Quinn. Highly recommend. But Lewis, like if you guys want to take a day trip up there on the weekend, or like if you want to plan a vacation, I recommend just going there for like 2-3 days and going to the other parks. But it's a good time. Look at that. US 30 didn't hold that resistance, and now people probably got faked out trying to sell this resistance right here. This could very well end up curving, right? And you get like a resistance formed up here, and then we continue right back down later on today. But so far, you would have probably gotten faked out if you had a tight stop loss. And then GJ is just the way it is. So I wouldn't touch that. All right, guys, any questions?
No.
I got a lot of work to get done because last week I got to journal all the trades that I could have taken last week,
Maybe on.
and throw those in the group Trello. All right, guys, great job showing up. Great discussion. I will see you guys at 1 p.m. for back testing today, and I'll see you then. If you guys take anything, send it into the group. I'll tell you guys if I'm taking anything, but so far it looks like this might be a no trade day.
All right,
Yep.
bro. See you later, man.
All right, boys. Have a great day. All right. See you later.
Each one.